Alright YouTube, so we are back, of course, to talk about some Square Enix, Tokyo Game Show, Square Enix Presents. This video, like a lot of our recent videos, is kind of a follow-up to the previous video, because it turns out that Square Enix's Square Enix Presents at Tokyo Game Show is actually separate from their Tokyo Game Show presentation, if that makes any sense. And it's actually something I wanted to address in the last video, because I couldn't remember if Square Enix Presents was like its own separate like showcase live stream, similar to like a Nintendo Direct or PlayStation Showcase, like dedicated to just them, just a live stream they do on YouTube by themselves, separate from any gaming event. Or if it's something that they just like name their like events or showcases at gaming events, and it seems like it's both. But what's interesting about this is we're still getting, games that are going to be shown at Tokyo Game Show, but we don't know what they're going to show yet at Square Enix Presents. And I don't know if they're going to reveal anything. Maybe they're just going to keep it ambiguous until the event. Because we actually got the lineup for what they're going to show at Tokyo Game Show, which we'll read over really quickly, which is Stranger Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, Guardians of the Galaxy, Forspoken, The First Soldier, Project Triangle Strategy, Deep Insanity Asylum, Dragon Quest X Online, Dragon Quest X Offline, Final Fantasy XIV, Saga Collection, Romancing Saga, Imperial Saga. They're really going in with the Saga shit, aren't they? Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. And again, that list of games is what they're showing at Tokyo Game Show over the course of, a couple of days, 2 or 3 days or whatever at Tokyo Game Show, and that's separate from Square Enix Presents. Now, they could maybe show some of those games also during the Square Enix Presents live stream. I don't know why they would do that, show the same game multiple times at the same event, but maybe they could. But if we go with the assumption that these games are going to be shown during TGS and not Square Enix Presents, it's a bit surprising because some of those are like their big hitters. Like they got, Stranger Paradise, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Forspoken. Like those three seem to be games that they are hoping to be very successful. And to not show them during Square Enix Presents would be kind of interesting. But if we go with that, and it's got to make you think that if they're not going to show those games during Square Enix Presents, they're using those games for TGS, then they got to be gearing up to show something big or like a lot of one game potentially. Final Fantasy 16 is what I'm thinking of. I mean, back in 2019 E3, they dedicated like a 20-minute segment to just Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So it's not unheard of to see them dedicate a shit ton of time to one game during a video game event or whatever. And I could see them doing something kind of similar to Final Fantasy 16. And it might explain why it's been kind of radio silent over the past year, right? We got the reveal trailer, we got the website, and then little bits here and there over the last year or so, but not anything substantial. Like, I don't even know, do we even know how the combat works? Is it open world? Is it linear? Is it like big maps? What's going on with all the lore and the story and everything? We know a bit from the website, I remember that, but I don't know what all we don't know, if that makes any sense. Is there some sort of character progression? Is there some sort of like a sphere grid Crystarium type system, or something like Final Fantasy 7 Remake with like the weapon cores? Do you only control Clive in the fight, or is there other characters to use? Stuff like that. Like, there's just a lot we don't really know about 16. Or at least that I'm not aware of. Some of this could have been revealed over the last year. I haven't kept up with everything for Final Fantasy 16. It's just the big stuff, the big reveals, like the website and the trailer, and then little things here and there. That's all I've kind of seen. Now, somewhat recently, Yoshi P did say that it seemed unlikely that Final Fantasy 16 would be at Tokyo Game Show. Now, there's like 2 or 3 ways we can look at this. One, he's just being honest. Like, he's just saying, hey, I just don't know, don't expect it there. If we can get something there, we'll show it. If not, just don't expect it. Secondly, another way we could look at it is that maybe they want to go for like this surprise reveal, so to speak. So then he's not allowed to say that it's going to be at the event. Which I'm leaning towards the latter, because I refuse to believe that they just don't have something to show. I mean, they had a reveal trailer that shows us a little bit of everything. Story, gameplay, everything, right? So I refuse to believe that a year later they just don't have anything to show. Now, maybe they don't have like a full 20-minute showcase worth like they did with Remake back in 2019, but they can show another trailer at the very least or something. The third way we could possibly look at this, quote, if everybody wants to simultaneously put your tinfoil hats on with me, is he says that don't expect to see the game at Tokyo Game Show. And while Square Enix Presents is happening with Tokyo Game Show, it is technically its own thing, right? Like Square Enix themselves are going to be live streaming on YouTube on like the Square Enix channel, Square Enix Presents. So it could be like a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like I wouldn't expect a Tokyo Game Show, but it's going to be at Square Enix Presents. And I'm sure they'll be live streaming their other Tokyo Game Show stuff as well on their channel. I'm not trying to put too much emphasis on that, but it's something I thought of while recording. It could be a little like, play on words or something. So on to like a bit of discussion on what they could be showing at this like 50-minute Square Enix Presents event. If we set aside 16, let's just say it won't be there. Maybe they don't make the deadline. How are they going to fill 50 minutes, man? Like, what else are they going to show? Because pretty much all their other upcoming games are going to be shown during TGS, unless they just want to show stuff during both like events. Like have repeat trailers and information or something. The only other game I can think of that's upcoming that is Babylon's Fall. Like that one's not confirmed for like TGS right now. So maybe they have something for Babylon's Fall during Square Enix Presents. But other than that, Well, I guess there's still Ever Crisis if they want to show that off, and there's other stuff under the Square Enix umbrella. We're mostly looking at like Square Enix themselves, but there's also like the Tomb Raider games from like, was it Crystal Dynamics or somebody? I don't remember who. I don't keep up with that shit. There's other stuff under the Square Enix umbrella that I guess could be shown during Square Enix Presents. But when it comes to Ever Crisis, like we know the game's coming out sometime 2022. We're getting to the, closer to the end of 2021, so maybe not too far away, but we kind of already know everything we need to know. It's just like there's going to be some new content, but it's also just going to be retelling the compilation story. There'll be like a new chapter every month. There'll be gacha system. Like we know kind of everything we need to know about a mobile game at this point. I don't really know if there's anything that needs to be shown off. I'm not against them showing more of Ever Crisis. I just don't know if there's anything else that we need to know about the game unless they just want to like show it off to like a big audience or something to remind people this game exists essentially. So unless there's some other games that are upcoming that I'm just not aware of under the Square Enix umbrella, it kind of just leaves Remake Part 2. And I hate to say that. I'm not trying to build like false hype for TGS and Square Enix Presents, but I don't know how you fill this 50-minute window unless it's 16, Remake Part 2, or a combination of both. And I feel like it's got to be one of those games. I'm obviously leaning a little more towards 16. That seems the more likely. That being said, though, if we just want to compare the games side by side, we have Yoshi P saying, don't expect this game at TGS, versus Nomura some months back saying, I have some shit I want to show you guys, I'm just not allowed to. So on paper, really, it seems more likely that Remake would be at this event other than 16, but 16 should be coming out before Remake Part 2, so it seems like that would be the game they'd show off. It's kind of confusing. And regardless of which of these games or any other games they want to reveal during Square Enix Presents, I feel like there's got to be some sort of big reveal. Otherwise, why not just have everything be at TGS? Like the fact that they're doing this like quote-unquote like separate live stream during TGS, I feel like they got either a lot they want to show or some big reveals that they want to show a lot of one game or something. Either way, the Square Enix like 50-minute live stream is the first thing they're doing at TGS. It's going to be happening on October 1st, and then they'll be showing off some of the other games over the course of the next couple of days, the second, third, and stuff like that. So they're opening TGS with this. All I hope, at the very least, is that it's at least something interesting, something worth getting a little bit excited about, because I'm looking forward to this 50-minute live stream. The rest of the stuff's kind of cool. I want to look at some of the First Soldier stuff they're going to do at TGS, things like that. I don't really care about Stranger Paradise, if I'm honest. But hopefully there's something worth tuning into this 50-minute live stream for. That's the thing I'm kind of focused on right now. By the way, dudes, that is pretty much the video. So, of course, I want to pass it off to you guys. What are your thoughts? So now that we know like all the games that are going to be at the actual TGS event, what do you think they're going to show at the Square Enix Presents, man? Because kind of pretty much all their future games are kind of in the TGS event. So what's going to happen here? Either way, leave your thoughts more in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys already want to see more Square Enix, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Final Fantasy 16, whatever the hell we're going to be talking about here on the channel in the future. Turn on notifications. Follow me on Twitter, dashingdavidYT. I'm a Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine or leave it like Cobain.